Good morning. Good morning. Apologies for the late start this morning. Um, I'm coming live to you not from my usual place at my desk, but I'm out and about at meetings and trying to find a quiet place. I found the perfect place to sit down and it was really quiet. And just as I was about to start talking or about to go live, somebody picked up a drill and started drilling a hole in the wall next to me. So I've just had to scootle around this hotel and try and find somewhere to speak to you. So anyway, today we're going to be talking. So this is day 3 of the lives, and today we're going to be talking about how to know when your client is actually ready to buy, which is something that can be, I think, where a lot of people get quite worried about. Are they going to miss the mark? And actually, a lot of sales can get missed by not paying attention to the buying signals that people have. One thing that is really important, that is all part of the buying process, is we need to allow people time to process information. So we talked on Friday about hitting the right notes when describing benefits to clients. If you imagine it, when you're telling that story, when you're building up what it is that your customer is going to be helped with, what they're going to achieve by working with you, they need to build up that visual in their mind, that picture up in their mind. So you need to give people the breathing space. So we do that by we engage them in the conversations, we ask them all the right questions, all those open-ended questions that I have talked about before, and I'll probably one of my lives is going to be talking about that as well. And what I mean by those open-ended questions, it is the question where there's not a simple yes or a simple no, where it's where people really need to think about what it is that is happening. So it could be a question you ask them, how do you see your business growing in the next 6 months? Well, that's not something that they can answer really quickly. They need to elaborate on that. They need to build a picture up for you. You need that time to process that information that they say to you. So don't underestimate pausing. When you ask questions of people, take that deep breath, pause the conversation, allow them that time to process what it is that you've just told them, that benefit that you've told them is going to work really well for them. And then they will come back and they will probably have questions about that. They'll want you to elaborate on different points of what that could be for them, how that could be different for them. Some people get a little bit worried that if somebody comes back with an objection, that an objection is a no. And it's something that I've talked about lots of times, that we need to really take the sting out of objections. Objections don't necessarily have to be a no. Sometimes they might be. Sometimes it might be no. I don't. Don't have capacity to do that work with you right now. It could be I don't have the money right now, but it could be genuinely I don't see how that would work for my business, and so you need to build that picture up in greater detail for them. So what we need to do is we need to give them that space. We need to help them process the information that we're saying. But we also, another way we need to make sure that we don't miss out on the sale is that we remember to actually ask the person for the sale. Now, I did one of my workshops that I've done a couple of years ago. There was somebody in that workshop, and we talked about the fact that they were doing a really good job. They had a fantastic marketing campaign, that they were following through. They were asking all the right questions. They were going back with, they were doing that big exploration. They were going back with the matching what their business was and how it could help their customer, what the benefit was for the customer. But still, the customer wasn't buying, and they weren't sure why that wasn't happening. So I don't often do role plays with people at all. It can be quite cringy. In my workshops, I don't make people do role plays. But in this particular situation, we did do a role play. And what we found was that as they did all that fantastic groundwork, they did it all, but they never actually asked for the sale. And asking for the sale should actually be the easiest part of the sales conversation, because you will have got them to a point where you've explored, you've asked them lots of questions, they've asked questions back of you, and that is where you now have to help that person move the conversation along. So that could be, do you want to buy? It could be, do you need any more information? It could be, should we get a date in the diary when we meet again to discuss next steps? It could be, where do you want me to send the invoice? It could be, when do you want to start working together? But it has to be a question that is open-ended again, but just leads us to the next step. That is all selling is we're leading somebody to the next step, and we're leading them in a very authentic, a very honest way. It's not that we're leading somebody down the garden path. So we need to remember to ask that question. And the way that we get good at this is practice, in real life situations. But I think it's also about the planning. So when you're writing your strategy, when you're working on your strategy, what you need to do is that you need to sit down and think about what are the questions that people might ask. You need to think about what the objections might be that people might have to working with you. And it's all about being prepared. But then importantly, it's about what is the outcome that you want from this conversation you're having with somebody. So if the outcome of the conversation is you're meeting somebody, like I've just met somebody, had a coffee with them, and our next steps were, how can we help each other? So we're not buying and selling from each other yet. We're getting to know each other. We're working out how we can collaborate together. But what are the next steps for us? And we need to think about that before we actually meet up, before we actually have the conversations with people, the phone calls, the video calls. So we think about what is the movement from this conversation we're having today to the conversation we're going to have next week, the conversation we're going to have in a month's time. Is it to get that sale today, or is it just to move that conversation along? So sit down and do that planning and do that work on that strategy, work on what those questions could be, what those objections could be, and you'll feel much more confident when you enter into those sales conversations. And you'll be being authentic because you will have had the time to process the information yourself. But remember to pause in the conversations, allow people to process what you're telling them, what you're saying to them, allow people to build up that image in their minds. So that's it from today's sales tip. I hope that has helped you. We are obviously, I'm out and about today, I'm out and about tomorrow. If you want to download my ebook, you can go to this link now. And you can get that will help you again with your sales conversations to drive those forward. And tomorrow's session, we are going to be talking about the pros and cons of offering discounts, one of my favorites. And I hope that one's going to be useful for you. So tomorrow, the plan is to come live to you at 12 o'clock. If things change, I'll try and let you know. But I'm hoping everybody is still enjoying the frostiness that we've got out there, and in the run up to Christmas. And I hope this tip has been useful for you today. And I'd love to hear back from you if it has done. Equally, if you think there's anybody that could benefit from hearing these tips, then please feel free to share my videos. And also, if you've got any questions or if you've got any ideas for other subjects for me to go live on to talk about with regards to sales, then please do get in touch with me and drop me a message at moira@moirabarnes.com. But that's it from me for today, and I wish you all a wonderful Monday.